When the art of photography is your passion and your passion becomes your work, what changes? We went on the local scene to talk with local photographers about the business of art.
My name is Alexis Brickner, and I specialize in real estate and commercial photography.
My name's Andrew Lederman, and I kind of cover a little bit of everything with my photography business, from weddings and families and high school seniors to corporate stuff like headshots, marketing, events, advertising, a little bit of everything there.
My name is Nute. I'm a commercial product photographer. I've been working in the Plymouth area for about 50 years. I do tabletop photography, executive portraits, and I've been doing a lot of food the last few years. And anything to do with a studio, that's where I'm most comfortable.
I'm Jim Curran, and I actually do several types of photography. Everything from landscape to artistic portraits to events. Basically anything that allows me to either be creative or make some money.
I've always been the one out of all my friends that had a camera and just kind of documenting a little bit of everything, which was always fun growing up because we didn't have iPhones and stuff like that. So probably around like 2008, 2009, I really started getting into the nature landscape photography and like kind of action sports. And then over the years, it just, morphed and formed into a little bit of everything.
In the 60s, I was going to art school and I couldn't really do what I wanted to do with my hands, and someone gave me a camera and the rest is history. I could visualize what I saw in my head through the camera versus my hands. Started doing that and wanted to be a rock and roll photographer, worked for Rolling Stone magazine. That didn't work out. And the next best thing I found was commercial product photography, and I've been doing it now for about 50 years.
My dad sold cameras when I was younger, and so I was kind of exposed, no pun intended, to photography and how cameras work. And he was a very tough critic. I remember when I was younger, we'd kind of go through the Sunday Globe and he would pick out like poorly composed shots or things that people do wrong. He would never say what was done right, but he'd like to criticize. So in the back of my mind, I had a good idea of composition.
What I love most about photography is that no day is ever the same in what I do. One day I can be doing a house, the next I can be photographing a family on the beach, or photographing jewelry for a jewelry artist or a beautiful landscape. What photography means to me is an expression. So it's a way someone can express themselves through an image. So it's more for a portrait. I could photograph a dancer, and the way she presents herself through a pose would be an expression of herself.
What I love about photography is really like capturing moments. I'm a people person, so one of my favorite things is just interacting with people. And most people, like 90% of people, don't really feel that comfortable in front of a camera. So part of my job as the photographer is to figure out a way to get them comfortable and get them having fun and almost kind of ignoring the fact that there's a camera there and just enjoying like the moment. One of the easiest ways to get people comfortable is just to ask them about themselves and, what do you like? What do you enjoy? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? It's stuff that goes by so fast when you're there, and then you look back at like this image and it's like, it's that important moment, captured.
Photography is very important to me. There's not a day that goes by that I don't do something photo related, and I'm always learning. And I think that's the thing that I like, is I'm always looking for the next photo or the next job or the next assignment, because with the type of work I do, you never know what someone's going to ask.
Dealing with challenges is part of being a professional, really. And I think a lot of that comes with experience and knowing how to diffuse situations, knowing how to direct people, where they need to go or what needs to happen. A lot of people can take really good photos right out of the gate. I know photographers who picked up a camera 6 months ago and they take amazing images. And I know photographers that have had a camera for 15 years and they're still pretty terrible. But there is no substitute for knowing how to handle situations and knowing how to handle them professionally. I've been through every single situation, and if you're gonna pay for someone to be a professional, that person should be able to handle situations professionally and should know, okay, this is happening, I need to do this. The more proactive you can really be about countering the things that are probably gonna go wrong throughout the day, the easier the day goes, and that just comes with experience.
When you're flexible and when you're willing to jump into a different role, essentially, not just being a real estate photographer, being a portrait photographer, being a wedding photographer, I feel like too, it gives you more avenues to do what you love and also new ways to meet new people. And it's also a way to continue doing your business no matter what's going on around you. And I think certain photographers don't want to do that or they don't know how to do that. But it's also a generalization. It's in any business, right? You can be in any business and have to pivot at certain times depending on what's going on in the world. So during COVID, I was doing the Matterport tours, which are the virtual walkthroughs. These became the open houses for my real estate agents. So again, people that could not go to a physical open house because they weren't having them, they had this tool that I have given them to share with their potential buyers that shows a property without the client having to actually go to the property to see it.
The challenge is when you're doing product photography, you would never have the audacity to say you know how to photograph everything. For instance, years ago, someone called me and they made jewelry. And I had never I'm aware of jewelry, but I've never photographed it. If you're honest with people and tell them your limitations, then say, let's get together, we'll sit down, we'll talk about the product. What's the demographics, what do you need? Can you leave whatever you make with me for a day or two, and I can fool with it. And then you get to understand what they want. And that's the thing I love about what I do is give me a challenge, I'll figure it out. It's fun. This is a playground for me. And I get paid to do it. Not bad.
I had this philosophy, like as a photographer, I always think there's two types of photographers. I call them meteors or satellites. A satellite, like I'm a satellite, I stay in the perimeter, I go around and look at the whole situation. There are others who get right in, they want to be your buddy and blah, 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 kind of infiltrate the situation and start shooting. It's like, no, I'm the satellite. I circle the situation, capture stuff that you don't know I'm shooting.
Not everything is going to be creative. Not everything's going to be award-winning, but a lot of what I do is very functional photography. It serves a purpose. But when you get those jobs where you can be creative, that's the best. And that's when I do food, when I work with a chef and we're trying to get a vibe on a food or a feel. When you're working with creative people, it's infectious. They're creative, you're creative, and then you meet in the middle, and it's great.
Art is part of the business, so I kind of approach most photo shoots from a standpoint of like starting off more basic, and then as people get more comfortable, we can get more creative. So if someone comes in here for headshots, I'm gonna probably start off with like the general like, hey, this is what like a regular headshot looks like. And as I see them kind of, relaxing a little bit more, then it's like, all right, maybe let's try this, maybe let's try this. You kind of have to blend the two, which is what I love about the way that I run my business too, is that like, I do a little bit of everything. I do high school seniors, which is super creative. I do weddings, which I get to be really creative as long as I get all of the important standard stuff that I need to get. But then I also do a lot of like corporate stuff that like you don't really get to be creative with. You can get cool angles, you can try different stuff, but like you can't interrupt people, you can't like be distracting, so you're a little more limited.
When it comes to shooting an event, portraits, I pretty much have to meet up to clients' expectations. Sometimes a little tug of war, but most people I work with have a good idea of what I do and how I have a rapport with them on setting expectations of what they would like. I have a very fine line between what I do professionally, or what I offer as a service, and what I do on a day-to-day walking around town with my camera, or if I go on vacation. I always consider that like my fine artwork, but I also offer that up on my website, or I enter it in art shows, and that's just part of my portfolio.
I love to walk around, and I always have my camera over my shoulder, which is something I didn't do for a long time, but I found I could get these little angles of little streets and stuff. Again, when I do that, I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to frame. And then in the studio, I will take objects like some of the stuff behind me here and just put it on a table and fool with the lights. And maybe you work for an hour on something, you don't get anything, but it was fun to do. And you learn from, oh geez, the light from there was kind of cool. And I can apply that to a product at some point. The technology now is so friendly that you can shoot without having to processing film. And I've taken advantage of that. I can spend 4 hours photographing some silly thing on a table. And I go, it didn't work, but the pursuit was fun. I'm just so lucky to be doing what I've done for how long I've done it. And it doesn't seem like 50 years have gone by. I have good friends that have looked out for me over the years and good clients. And it's been a great ride. And it ain't over.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to stay up to date with our latest content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to make sure you never miss out on the amazing discussions, insights, and entertainment we bring your way. And hey, if you find value in today's video, be sure to give a thumbs up by smashing that like button. We'll see you next time.